Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Kevin Coleman in studio today for a very busy episode. Kev, we've got the captains of the Ridgefield boys volleyball team joining us, Ryan O'Connell of the New Canaan Lacrosse team to talk about last night's huge double overtime win, and Mike DeRocco, HAN color commentator, will join us later in the show as well. Quickly before we get the Ridgefield boys volleyball captains on with us though, what a game last night, New Canaan and Staples.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I have to give, even though New Canaan was on the winning side and Staples went home with the loss, I have to give so much credit to the Wreckers. They came in and really did a great job against a very good and very talented New Canaan team who, again, sits undefeated in the conference. I thought they gave them a good run for their money, especially at home. They did a great job of forcing turnovers, and for a while it looked like Staples was going to run away with it, up 10-5. You thought it was going to be theirs, and then you got to give credit to both sides, both fighting back and forth, showing that resiliency. And double overtime, it seemed like no one really wanted to win. Both goalies played fantastic, and Graham Braden got the big overtime winning goal.
It sets up the FCAC championship rematch we were hoping to see in boys lacrosse, but before that on Saturday, we're going to have an FCAC and state championship rematch in boys volleyball. And for more on that, we want to welcome in the captains of the Ridgefield boys volleyball team. They are Nick Ledowdy, Henrik Liapunov, and Josh Verdejo. Boys, thank you so much for taking time with us today. How are you guys doing?
Great, thanks.
Well, we're happy to have you on. And first of all, congratulations on a great start to the season. You guys are 7-0. You have yet to surrender a set, and that's where I want to start. As dominant as you have been offensively, let's talk a little bit about the defense. What's the mantra of this team and the emphasis you guys put on the defensive front?
Defense is the most important part of the game. We have height. We have people who can put the ball away. But our greatest weakness would probably be our defense, what we need to work on the most. Sean Keegan, Nakel, they've stepped up. They've been great this season, and we're really excited this year.
Well, it certainly helps to have a guy like Sean Keegan's play a big role in the defensive front. We saw you guys against Staples a couple of weeks ago, and he was down in the butterfly several times, almost looked like a hockey goaltender out there again. Let's look a little ahead now to Friday's match. You guys split the championship series with the Blue Wave last year. What can we expect Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock from Darien Gymnasium?
I think we can expect a great game. It's going to be close. We got two strong teams coming into this, and we're going to go in, we're going to stay focused, and we're going to just do what we do. At the end of the day, Darien's another team, so we're going to go in there and we're going to play our best.
Now, guys, how do you stop Tim Herget and Alex Preston? Especially for Nick, for you, going up against Alex Preston, you two match up pretty well with each other. What's it going to be like going up against them, and what's the week been like preparing for Darien?
We've really been focusing on trying to stop Tim Herget. He's one of the best players in the FCAC, just as an all-around player, his passing, his serve receive, his hitting. And Alex Preston is insanely tall. He hits over almost all of our blocks. So we've been trying to find ways to hopefully match up our taller players like Josh and myself against him.
Well, you guys talk about the taller players. Really, one main point that sticks out to me with your roster is the depth you guys have. And when you get a free ball opportunity, Henrik, you're as good as anyone in the conference setting it up, and you've got so many weapons across the board. Obviously, Nick and Josh in the middle and on the outside, but you've got Tom Lincoln as well. Speak to the credit of your roster and how deep you guys can go with players coming off the bench.
This program has a pretty good depth, for the past couple of years. And I've just been happy and lucky enough to be playing with all these guys. These are some of my closest friends, and I've been growing up with them. So, and so I'm just happy enough to be playing with some guys that are athletic and know the game well enough.
Henrik, it's so important to be able to communicate in volleyball, but watching you play, where do you get that intensity from?
Volleyball has been in my family for, my grandpa taught my dad taught me and my brother. And so it's just, we have a passion for the game. And so it's just, I think I just care a lot about the game, and I want others to care with me. So I try and set a good name for the game itself. And so, I just have a drive and a love for the game. So I try and get others to play with me.
Now, you guys will both, Darien and Ridgefield, come into this game undefeated. Unfortunately, you lost both regular season matches against the Wave last year, but you appreciate how that doesn't mean too much. It's the FCAC and the state matches that are most important. How much of an emphasis are you guys putting on this game, though? How badly do you want to take it to the Wave on Friday?
I mean, this is our first time seeing each other. We kind of want to set the bar high, you know, get them scared of us, establish our dominance in this first game, and hopefully take it from there.
And, of course, you guys will play again later in the season on May 18th, right before the FCAC. You've won the last 3 state championships, an accomplishment that really, speaks for itself there. As your senior season here, though, boys, how important is an FCAC championship to this group?
I mean, an FCAC championship would be huge. You know, we'd love to. You know, I mean, I think every team could say that they'd love to win FCAC and states, and that's what we're looking to do as well. Because you know we've been kind of dominant on the state side, we're looking to bring some of that to the FCAC side.
Now, guys, let me ask you, as the captains of the team, who's been the most improved player on the roster this season?
Probably Christian DeVivo. He put in a lot of work in the off season. He definitely worked on his passing and his defense, which was a struggle for him last year and one of our more apparent weaknesses. And him fixing that up in the off season has shown tremendously throughout this year.
You guys just last weekend went to the Rhodey Invitational. What was that experience like for the group, and how do you want to use it as a positive now moving forward into the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, every year we go to the Rhodey, and I think it's a great experience for us because we get to see what the rest of the region looks like and what other volleyball players are capable of. But it's also a good time to figure out for ourselves what a good lineup is, what players' strengths and weaknesses are, and you know, it's a good time to do that because it doesn't count towards our season. So it's good practice.
All right, I don't want to put you guys on the spot here, but do you have a prediction for Friday? What should we expect? Are you going to keep the undefeated streak alive here, 3-0 for against the Wave?
I don't know about 3-0, but we're going to try to win. I mean, our coach will kill us if we don't.
Boys, I want to thank you so much for coming on with us today. It's been a blast talking to you. We can't wait to see you and the rest of the Tigers on Friday. Going to be a great atmosphere and should be a great match against Darien.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
All right, good luck, boys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Those were the Ridgefield volleyball captains. I was Henrik Leopunov, Nick Ladowdy, Josh Verdejo. I mean, Kev, we got to see these guys just a couple weeks ago against Staples, and we thought, okay, maybe this is where they drop a set. This is a tough Staples team, but so dominant, both offensively and defensively.
Those first 2 sets against Staples were so dominant. That third set, I don't know, maybe it was a little bit of fatigue. They were getting a little tired, but boy, you know, that final set, Staples got them to game point. Almost dropped their first set of the season, but you look back at that last game they had against St. Joe's on Wednesday last night, dominated again. So they're coming into a very good Darien team in a championship rematch that we're all excited for. So 4 o'clock tomorrow, you want to be right here on the HA Network because that's going to be a great matchup.
Should be an absolute blast. 4 o'clock from Darien will be on the air at 3:50, a rematch of the FCAC and state championship from last season. Kev, let's take a break. When we come back, John Kovac is going to join us. You guys were on the call for the boys lacrosse game last night between New Canaan and Staples. We'll also be joined by New Canaan lacrosse captain Ryan O'Connell to talk about the Rams' huge win and preview their big matchup against the Wave on Saturday afternoon. All that's next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
It's the InSports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once Tess gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now at 3 locations: 131 Kings Highway North in Westport, the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman. We welcome John Kovach onto the air with us now. John, you and Kevin were at Staples Stadium last night. What an exciting game you got to see.
Every now and then you have a game and you just feel that it's a privilege to be a part of it, to be on the call for that. And yesterday's Lacrosse game between New Canaan and Staples, truly one of those games, Kevin.
You're right. You and I talked about it even this morning. We walked in, those games kind of drag on, but that was such an exciting double overtime game, back and forth. Both goalies were outstanding. How about the saves that some of these goalies made? Matt Gerber and Drew Morris made some unbelievable saves. It was a ton of fun to watch. It was great lacrosse. It was fun. It was good, high drama, getting us ready for the playoffs.
There's a lot going on.
Well, speaking of a privilege to be a part of, we're happy to welcome on to Nutmeg Sports one of the captains for the New Canaan Rams. That is Ryan O'Connell. Ryan, let me fast forward ahead right to the third quarter. Staples has scored the last 8 goals in the game. What was the message from Coach Buzzio to the team?
Well, we knew that we just had to really keep our composure, and that's something that Coach Buzz was telling us the whole time. We knew it wasn't going to happen all at once, so we said, hey, one step at a time, one goal at a time, one defensive stop at a time, and that ended up adding up and obviously got us a win.
And, despite the score being 15-14, John, myself were talking about this earlier, Drew Morris played, I thought, what might have been his best game of the year. How important is a player like Drew Morris to this New Canaan roster?
Oh, he's crucial. I mean, he's the reason why we are where we are. I mean, you could absolutely make an argument that we lose to Fairfield Prep if it wasn't for Drew this past weekend. Obviously last night too, but he's a phenomenal goalie. He's been standing on his head all year for us, so we're always very thankful to have him.
Ryan, John Kovach, what were your thoughts on Staples goalie Matt Garber, who I thought really was more than up to the task yesterday?
Oh, he was outstanding. I mean, we went into the game not really knowing much about him, but geez, boy, did he make a name for himself on our side of the field. He was ripping it up. I think both goalies, for that matter, obviously, both had, I think, 12 saves or double-digit saves. So anytime you have that, I mean, you're pretty confident in your team. But he was phenomenal. He made some great stops, especially on the crease. one on myself in particular, but he did really well.
You know, emotions were running high during that game last night, Ryan. What was the mood like field level?
It was pretty intense. I mean, anytime you go to double overtime, your heart's pounding. I mean, I was bugging out a little bit, I gotta say, but Coach Buzz, I mean, every time there was a timeout or in between overtimes, he was really just telling us to keep our composures and really just do what we do best, and that's just executing. So he really beat that into our heads, and we obviously had confidence in each other because we've been playing with the same group of guys for a long time. So I think that's definitely what helped us out.
Well, we've got the highlights running on the screen right now, Ryan, and one player whose heart I think is just pounding a little bit less than everyone else is about to come away with the game winner. I mean, we got to see Graham Braden in the fall step up late in the year for the football team. He's now scored 2 game-winning goals in the final minutes of regulation and overtime. What is it about Graham and his attitude that he's just stepping up in the clutch moments right now?
Graham has done an outstanding job this year of embracing his role. He's a very gritty player. He's on the wings for us almost every time, scooping up ground balls, stuff like that. Obviously, like, we'd like to have him on offense more, but to have like a utility guy like that, I think it's really helps us a lot. Really pushes our team to the next level. I mean, he's always on the field for those last shot situations, and hey, he's got ice in his veins to put away 2 game winners this year. It's really impressive. He's done a heck of a job.
Ryan, walk us through that play. We just saw the replay of that game-winning goal, but you see Jackson Apel fire one at the net, just goes wide. You're right there to get the rebound, and you fire it over to Graham Braden, who nets the game winner. Walk us through that.
Yeah, so I was getting face guarded the whole game, or most of the game for that matter. So I was behind the net to get any backup or anything like that, or if the ball were to have gone out of bounds, I would have started with the ball and restarted right away. But I was able to get a hand on the ball, drove up the field, and then Graham's guy slid adjacent to me. So it was just an easy layup. He called for the ball, and he did the rest from there.
Ryan, what does a game like that, a close game that goes double overtime, do when you've got your arch rival, best team in the nation, according to some, coming up just a couple days from now?
It's certainly a wake-up call. I mean, like, it's hard for me to sit here and say that all eyes were on Staples last night, because obviously when you're playing Darien, our arch rival, like, obviously people are talking about that, but it's certainly a wake-up call not to sleep on anybody, or really not to get complacent with ourselves. I mean, we went up, I think it was 5-2 or something like that. They come back, have an 8-goal run. So it was certainly, like I said about a couple times now, it was definitely a wake-up call. Like, it was it really like showed us that we can't fall asleep at any time during a game. So I really got to give Staples a lot of credit. They came out, played a phenomenal game.
Now, what do you guys, looking forward to Saturday's game against Darien, what do you guys need to do better in order to play against Darien on Saturday at 4:30?
For us, defensive execution, probably slow down transition, because Darien's phenomenal in transition. They've got weapons all over the field. So if we could slow them down a little bit there, hopefully that'll work out a little better for us.
Ryan, getting back to Staples for a minute, having just spent a game plus out there with them, is this a team that's on the rise in the FCAC?
Absolutely. I think they graduated some very talented kids last year, and I think we went into this game thinking that they didn't have too much firepower, but they really proved us wrong. Their coach is a phenomenal coach. He really threw some really funky stuff at us. We didn't really know how to react to it first, but they were a phenomenal team on all cylinders. They were really good.
Ryan, last question for you here. You're a captain of this Rams team, looking forward to Saturday. Have you thought at all about your message to the group before the game yet? And if so, what are you going to say to these boys?
Not much. I mean, these are things that I guess like I've been thinking about for a while. But I think the message is simple. I think it's just another game, and like that's the way we have to look at it, because we've been in games before where we come in a little overhyped for a game. For example, Darien game like last year, where there's all this hype on like the quote game, then we get out to a bad start. I mean, take the Turkey Bowl for a perfect example, where we went down, I think it was 24 points. That's like really what we want to get away from, and just really focus on this game. It's just another game, and just do our thing, execute, and then we'll be all right from there.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on with us today. Congrats on the big win last night. We're excited to see you and the Rams on Saturday. We want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. That's, again, Ryan O'Connell, one of the captains of the New Canaan boys lacrosse team. And you guys were in the stadium last night. What an unbelievable effort. Great resiliency by the Rams, because they were down big in the third after giving up 8 straight goals. They lost face-offs in both overtime and double overtime, still found a way. And I thought it was very mature of O'Connell, John, to point out that all eyes probably weren't on Staples last night.
And we asked about that before the game on the field. And you could tell that the hope was that they were focused on that day's game. However, you've coached, I've coached, we've all played here. You know that's not always the case, and it's hard to make it the case. You're one of the great ones when you can do that.
That is the case. And Kev, John, it was a great question to ask Ryan about Staples being a program on the rise. I think they made a statement last year, making it to the FCX semifinals for the first time. This game last night might have been equally as big of a statement to the rest of the conference and the state, for that matter.
I definitely agree. I think if you look at last night, just John and I talked about on the broadcast, yes, the game itself was amazing, and I think Staples really did a great job of keeping up with New Canaan, but it was what was going on outside the game. It was the youth movement around the stadium. You saw all these little kids playing, with their little lacrosse sticks, trying to imitate what the varsity players are doing. There was probably, John, I mean, you could probably find out more of the number, but there was tons of little kids there trying to imitate what the varsity players are doing. John and I, spoke about how cool it was to watch, and you saw the student section there as well for the Staples Wreckers. It was really cool, and Paul McNulty, the head coach of Staples Wreckers, told us how important it was to get this youth movement going at Staples High School for lacrosse.
I would say there were at least 80 youth players in their Westport, Wrecker Youth Lacrosse shirts who were there and running around, but for a large part of it, watching the game and following the game and getting excited when they saw Staples going blow for blow with New Canaan. It was really something special to see, and every athlete hates to talk moral victories, and I know that nobody who was wearing white yesterday wants to hear about a moral victory right now. That's a game you can hang your hat on.
That's a great point right there, and you're right. Nobody wants to talk moral victories at the time, but looking forward, both Staples and I'll say Wilton too, because Wilton has come very, very close now the last 2 times. If I'm New Canaan, as important as the game coming up against Darien is, and yes, you made it there undefeated, in the back of my mind, there is lingering doubt about having to face the Warriors or the Wreckers again down the road in the postseason. And they're going to have to play at least one of those teams, and it's going to be a very tricky game. Mark my words on that one. We're going to take one more break here, guys. John, thanks for coming in today.
Anytime.
Happy to have you along. Great job last night.
Thank you.
Mike DeRocco, HA and color commentator, is going to join us after the break, and we'll look ahead to Saturday's girls and boys lacrosse doubleheader. New Canaan and Darien, FCX Championship rematch in both of those, only on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event, now through April 30th.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napolitana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com and like us on Facebook.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
La France de Charles Trenet, c'est la France de tous les Français.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars. Wow. Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovac. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HA Network. Thank you again to Ryan O'Connell, the New Canaan lacrosse team. Sticking with that lacrosse theme and looking ahead to this weekend's big doubleheader, you've got New Canaan and Darien, girls and boys, Kevin. We're happy to welcome on HAN color commentator Mike DeRocco. Mike, we've missed you since Thanksgiving, but we're happy to have you back on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Frank. Thanks for having me back on. Excited to do the game on Saturday and looking forward to two great matchups between both the guys and girls, Darien and New Canaan.
Well, let's start off right where we ended last night. New Canaan needed double overtime to survive Staples. Is this just a case of the Rams overlooking their opponent and focused on Darien, or are we maybe not giving the Wreckers enough credit?
I don't think we're giving the Wreckers enough credit. I mean, they did a tremendous job last night. New Canaan got out to an early lead, but Staples really just, showed their grit and fought back in that game. And New Canaan probably looking ahead a little to the big matchup, but most importantly, they got the win at the end of the day. So you can't fault for New Canaan for being excited for a huge matchup, but you got to give credit to the Wreckers where it's due and fighting New Canaan all the way to the end of double overtime.
And let's look deeper inside that matchup, Mike. One thing that really stands out to me is going to be the face-offs on Saturday. Nick Cravato struggled a little bit last night against Das Sachs, which was surprising to me. He now finds himself matched up against Tanner Strube. Which way do you lean in that matchup right now? And how important are the face-offs going to be?
I mean, at this point, I think you have to lead a little towards Strube. Cravato struggled last night. I'm sure that they'll get everything sorted out in practice in the next couple of days as they prepare for the big matchup, but it's important for Cravato to have a big game on Saturday. If Strube can dominate the face-off X, then New Canaan could be in a little bit of trouble. New Canaan's going to really want to try and take control of the game on offense, possess the ball more, keep the ball away from Darien's high-powered attack, and get out to an early lead. If they can get possessions early in the game and, work the shot clock, take care of the ball, then you could see New Canaan gaining a little confidence. But if it goes the other way and Strube's, winning every face-off, you could see New Canaan falling in an early hole they might not be able to climb out of.
Mike, just like Frank mentioned, we've missed you since Thanksgiving. We want to welcome you back on Saturday. Pumped to have you. But, let's talk about this goalie matchup, Ryan Cornell and Drew Morris. How big of a game does Drew Morris need to play for the Rams?
I mean, Drew Morris needs to play like a goalie who's committed to Maryland. He needs to have an excellent game, show why he's one of the best players in the state. I think it goes both ways. Both goalies are going to have to play well, but for New Canaan to have a chance to try and snap Darienne's school record 39-game winning streak, I believe that Drew Morris is going to have to play out of his mind. But he's shown he can do that in many big stages before.
And you're exactly right. 39-game winning streak, longest in school history. Just a week ago, Coach Jeff Braymeyer became the winningest coach in Connecticut history. They're currently ranked #1 in the nation by Under Armour. Darienne's goal differential on the season, just a casual plus 102. So you're right, Mike. I mean, obviously, the offense is so high-powered, but it's the transition game of Darien that impresses me most. What are the Rams going to have to do to really slow down that attack and not let Darien run on them?
The Rams are just going to have to get back in the hole. You're going to want to get guys back in the middle of the defense, making sure that Darien does not get fast break opportunities, and just taking care of the ball on the offensive end. If New Canaan's turning the ball over and, the Darien defense is able to move the ball quickly to the middies, get the ball upfield, get some 4-on-3 opportunities, that could cause some problems for New Canaan, especially if Morris isn't coming up with big saves and fast break chances. So if they can't take care of the ball, I think that could be a big problem, and the transition game could go heavily in Darienne's favor. You'll see it as well in the face-off game, which we talked before. If Struve's winning some quick draws and is able to create some 4-on-3 chances, that could be another problem for New Canaan.
Mike, you were a huge part of this rivalry back from 2005 to 2009, more so in the football side of things, but you played in a decade where New Canaan beat Darien 10 straight years in football. For this Darien Blue Wave team right now, is there a bit of a mental edge over New Canaan? Do they just feel they have their number and they show up like New Canaan can't touch them right now?
I think there has to be. No matter what happens, football, lacrosse, it seems that every close game is going in Darien's favor. So when there's 3 minutes left and it's a tie ball game, Darien has the confidence knowing that they think they're going to get the job done, because in recent history, that's what it's been. You saw it in football. A lot of these players play both lacrosse and football, and in the the Turkey Bowl game, you saw New Canaan came all the way back, but Darien just made enough plays at the end of the game. And you have to think that's going to be in the back of a lot of New Canaan players' minds, not only the football field, but the lacrosse field as well, that they haven't beaten Darien in either in quite some time.
Yeah, it's funny, Ryan. We just had Ryan O'Connell on. He actually mentioned the same thing, how they don't want it to be like the Turkey Bowl all over again, where they have to chase Darien. But in last night's game against Staples, I thought New Canaan had a tough time with the turnovers. Obviously against New Darien, they need to cut back on that. How crucial is it for New Canaan to not turn the ball over and let Darien go on the attack?
It's very important. If you have the ball, over half the game, 3/4 of the game on the offensive end, then you have a much better chance at coming away with the victory. If they keep turning the ball over and Darien's able to wear down that New Canaan defense and get a lot of shot opportunities on Drew Morris, then it's going to be a long night for the Rams. So if they can just cut down on the turnovers, possess the ball, I think that will do wonders for giving them a chance. And I think especially early in the game, I'm sure there'll be plenty of early game jitters. You're playing the #1 team in the country. Can you just calm down, move the ball around, play within your offense? And if New Canaan can do that, then we'll be in for a good one on Saturday.
And Mike, I just want to ask you one more question here. This one's more on the girls' game that we'll see at 1:30 before the boys. You know Coach Kristen Wood so well for the New Canaan Rams. You spent a year as a manager, a part of that program. Last time they saw Darien, they were up 7-3 at halftime of the FCX Championship before falling 12-11 in overtime to the Blue Wave. What's the message from Coach Woods before Saturday's game to the New Canaan girls?
It has to be just a finish. Coach Wood knows that her girls have just as much talent as the girls over in Darien, and it's just about finishing the game. When you're up, you got to keep the foot on the pedal and just try and play 4 quarters or play an entire game, and that's what you got to do. And Coach Wood will be preaching that all week, I'm sure, in practice as they prepare for this one.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're pumped to see you on Saturday. Can't wait to have you back on the air. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. That was Mike DiRocco, HAN color commentator. He'll be with us on Saturday, Kev, for both the girls and the boys games. We're running out of time here, but let's just quickly look ahead to the 3 games we've got coming up this week. Let's start with Friday. Ridgefield, Darien volleyball. What are you expecting?
I expect this thing to go to 5 sets. I do not. Ridgefield's finally going to lose one of their first sets of the season. It's going to be a dogfight between 2 of the best in the FCIAC, maybe even 2 of the best in the state. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to come down to the very last game point, I think. It's going to be high drama, high intensity at Darien. It's going to be a lot of fun, too.
And we've given so much credit to Ridgefield for going undefeated through the season, not giving up a set yet. Darien's only surrendered 1 set as well. So
and that's why I think there's just no chance either one of these teams is going to go for a clean sweep. It's not going to happen. I think Ridgefield has to realize that, and Darien has to realize that.
That is Friday at 4 o'clock from Darien. We'll be on the air at 3:50. Saturday, we saw New Canaan girls and New Canaan boys each this week. From what you've seen, Kevin, what do the Rams have to do to be able to knock off the wave for the first time on either side in quite a while?
Well, for the girls, I was actually really impressed with what I saw, on Tuesday night against Staples. Boy, they looked strong. Campbell Armstrong really stood out to me. Carly Bucci as well. Caroline O'Day. I think the big thing for her is she needs to continue playing her game. If she plays the way she did against Staples on Tuesday, boy, there's a good chance that you're going to see New Canaan and come up with that win against Darien. For the boys' side, I think not a lot of people expected New Canaan to go to double overtime against Staples. So a little bit of cleanup to do for the Rams in order to get ready for arguably one of the best teams in the nation. They realize that, though, and I think what they have in their favor, Frank, is that they're at home. They're at Dunningfield. They know how to prepare for a game like this at home. So, I think it's going to be closer than we think, but the big thing is they can't let them get out to an early lead.
I agree, and if you're Darien, that's exactly what I was going to say, Kev. You need to take the life out of New Canaan right away. For the girls, Christine Fiore, Emma Jacques, they've got to step up. They lead the team with 31 goals and 22 goals. Anna Stein leads the team with 22 assists. Those 3, they've got to let the offense flow through themselves. Don't allow New Canaan an opportunity to jump out 3-4-0 and give them that life or belief. For the boys, it's always going to be a matter of the transition game. If Darien gives themselves an opportunity to run in transition, they'll be successful, not only against New Canaan, not only against Connecticut, against any team in this nation. There's a reason Under Armour has them at number 1. There's a reason they've won 39 games straight, and it's their transition game. It makes them so versatile, so lethal. If they can get out and run on New Canaan, I just don't see the Rams being able to keep up.
Oh, I fully agree. I think if they let them go in transition, they're just going to get burned all afternoon long. And I think they need to shut down Kevin Lindley and Logan McGovern because the 2 of them combined are just having a fantastic start to this 2017 season.
A lot of fun today. We want to thank all of our guests again. Henrik Liapunov, Nicola Dowdy, Josh Verdejo of Ridgefield Volleyball, Ryan O'Connell of the New Canaan Rams lacrosse team, and Mike DiRocco, who will be with us again on Saturday. Kev, a lot of fun. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon from Darien, and then the big doubleheader on Saturday. For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. Thank you for tuning in to Nutmeg Sports, only on the HAN Network.